Hi, this tutorial is about the channel mixer effect. It's found in the Filters and Effects menu under Channel Mixer, or Mixed Channels, I'm sorry, under Mixed Channels. And what it does is it does exactly that. Every image is a RGB image. It's red, green, and blue. There are 3 channels. So for example, I have all 3 channels here. So if you select red, you can change the red channel, and if you have green and blue. So let's start with the red channel, for example, and I have 3 controls, and what it does is the red control, the channel for the selected channel is just that. It just adds more of it or less of it. So since I'm on the red channel, what it'll do is if I subtract red, it'll just take the red out, or it'll add red. So as a practical example, what I can do is if I take 100% of red out of the red channel, and I go to green, and I take the green channel out, you can see all I have left is blue. And if I go to the blue channel, and I take out the blue, just the blue, you can see it just goes to black because I've taken out the red, green, and blue on each of those channels. So again, if I'm on the red channel, such as here, I can take out red or I can add red. It gets really interesting when what you do is you add or subtract other channels. For example, to the red channel, I can add the green channel. So most pictures, every picture is 60% of most pictures is actually green. And so if I'm adding the green channel to the red, you can see it gets more red because I'm adding a lot more light. And what I can do is I can compensate by subtracting the red, and you can see what happens is it starts giving a different tone to the picture because the green, the light areas on the green versus the dark areas on the green are different than they are in the red, green, and blue, so it's going to change different colors. So it's going to be more red where the green used to be bright and less red where the green was dark, and so that's why it changes the colors. And so it's really just a matter of experimenting around. You can see that if I want to add a lot more red, it really washes out the reds because now I'm adding too much red. But what I can do is I can start subtracting other channels to help balance that out. And you can see it starts changing the picture quite a bit. And then if I start doing that with other channels, for instance, I'm on the blue channel here, I can subtract blue, or I can add blue, or I can add the red channel to the blue channel, and then I could subtract the green channel or another channel to compensate for what I'm adding. And so you can see it gets very interesting very quickly. And you can do all sorts of things with it. And so if I just go wild with the controls, for example, now what I do want to show in a couple seconds is how the mixed channels can help you make your image look a lot better. Not just like this, but enhance your image and to bring out the natural colors in the picture. I'm just showing you this to show that you can really get crazy with it and do all sorts of different things. And to give you an idea of how the mixed channel works, you can see that I'm just really playing around with it and getting different effects and so forth. And so it can be pretty interesting, especially when you combine them with other effects. And so you can see I'm just kind of having fun with it now and making different images with it. I think I'm going for more of a, let's see if I can get here. And so you can see it just gets pretty interesting depending on what you do with it. And then again, you can mix them with other effects as well. So if I go back in the quick edit mode and then maybe add some contrast, for example, and even change the hue, you can see that I get a very interesting picture, more like a negative, it almost looks like a negative of the picture. And then if I invert it, it just, you can just get crazy with it and do all sorts of things. But let me show you how it can make a difference in your picture by enhancing the natural colors that are already in it. So let me go back to the original picture. And what I can do is go back into the mixed channels. And what I'm about to show you is really almost a truism for every picture, especially a natural or outdoor picture. That you can see this picture here, it has plenty of yellow and green, but watch what happens when I just add a little bit of red. It gets a little too much red in there, but then what I can do is I can use the green. Like I said before, green really represents most of the light in your picture. And so it's a good control to use. So what I can do is I can, if I want to add red, for example, red and blues are really good colors to add to most pictures. Unless there's a person in it, then you don't want to add too much red. And then what you can see is I'm just balancing it out, and already you can see that it's just really looks nice and much more colorful in here, and it really hasn't changed the green area. So if I undo it, you can see it's added red to the flower, but it really hasn't changed the green areas too much. And then if I go into the blue channel, and do exactly the same thing with the blue channel and the green channel, where I'm adding blue, but then I'm subtracting green to compensate. You can see it gets to be very interesting. In fact, maybe even a little too colorful. So you can see it just really takes on a different tone to it. And so you can see it really just brought out the color in this picture. It just has added nice contrast, and to me it's a much more soothing and pleasing picture now. Maybe a little too much red, but I can adjust that and bring that back out. And so you can see it's quite a difference by just playing with the mixed channels controls just a little bit. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing in another picture. So this picture is another good example. You can see that it has a number of different colors in there, but just based on looking at it, I can see that it's also very plain and can be more colorful. I mean, I can increase the saturation, which makes it look nice, and I can do lots of other things, but let's go into the mixed channels and do exactly what I just did with the previous picture, where what I do is I bring the red out a little bit, bring the green down. You just have to kind of do it by looking at it, kind of eyeball it. As you can see already, it's enhanced the reds in the picture, and it's made the wood look a lot nicer and more colorful. And then if I go into the blue channel and do the same thing, you can see that it's really bringing out a lot of color in the picture now. And so here, this picture has a much more nice, colorful look to it. And what I can do is I can just go ahead and play around with it even more. If I really want to exaggerate it, for example, you can see that I can do is I can just really bring these controls out and play with it a little bit. It's a little unnatural in a way, but it still looks pretty interesting. And so that's a way you can use the mixed channels to really bring out the natural color in your picture. Now, just like before, if I, oops, I just messed that up. Just like before, if I want to, for example, do something a little more out of the ordinary to make it look more like a graphic picture, I can also play with different channels and use them more harshly. Like here, you can see I'm playing with the green channel and just making the picture look very different. And so the mixed channels can do things to really dramatically change your picture, like here, and to give different effects, or it can help you really enhance your picture. I think that, you know, for stage light purposes, I tend to run along in terms of examples, the ones that enhance your pictures, but it's pretty interesting to see what can be done here, especially when you start mixing effects and that sort of thing. For example, just to show what can be done with mixing effects, if I accept that one, and then I just go into edge effects, for example, and then just decide to go ahead and make a painting out of it. You can see that, let me change the edges a little bit here. You can see that it just really makes kind of a nice little painting effect with the different colors, because it makes it look a little more artistic than just using the previous or the colors that were originally in the file. Or if I don't accept this, for example, and go into something like the circle paint, what I can do is I can do this, and then I have a painting that just looks like I'm being a little more surreal with it than if I'd used the original colors. So you can see that looks pretty interesting there, or even with oil paint or what have you. You can see that it really does, it can really make a difference in, especially if you're doing something more graphic like this circle paint here, than if you just use the natural color. So it's a really nice way to do artistic